because I've been too busy sitting here reading a book. And I'm thinking, I want to share some stuff with y'all. Had another daycation. I took a day off and it was very interesting and it was a lot of fun. And I'm going to share some stuff with y'all that I want y'all to try and do. Because, you know, I've always talked about daycations. I don't like to sleep away from home. I don't like to not be in my space. I'm weird about my space. I don't want to sleep in no motel. I don't want to sleep at, you know, I don't want to go camping. I like to be at home. So I like to choose places that you can go and you can leave in the morning and then you can come back and you can crawl in your own bed. And the way, you know, if you leave at like 9 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, something like that, you can do any of the trips that we talk about. Because it's about going there, getting back, and enjoying the ride. Now, in a bit, we're going to show you a map. We don't have it loaded yet, but I'm going to show you a map. And I'm not real smart about back roadsy, but we went on this back road that I want to share with y'all, and we're going to share it in a little bit. We're going to share the things about the Cherokee that we often forget. And we've talked about this book in the past, and again, it's Cry the Eagle. My late father-in-law wrote this book, Don's granddaddy, actually, and he wrote this book. And I've read it for years and years and years, and Uncle John was a part of this book. He helped with the research, and I think being around him more lately, it has piqued my interest in it, because he's often telling stories about the places he went. And the places he went were all over Cherokee County, all over Forsyth County. And that's where the Cherokee gold was. And so there were so many things about the Cherokee that we should have paid attention to. We should have paid attention to how they always built near the rivers because they wanted to farm the land. Well, this weekend, I saw something near the river that made sense and did not make sense because the Tuckasegee had gotten out of its banks during that horrific storm when Helene came through, and many, many, many people lost their homes. So the Cherokee chose to live right by the river and to farm right by the river, but they probably placed their houses up on the hills overlooking the river, because Ellijay campground was completely wiped out. And I have a video we're going to share with y'all in a little bit. That video, it's still astounding to me. This is the second time that I've seen the property since it was destroyed. But to really look at it Saturday and to see the debris and the rubble and what is left of there were probably 200 people who lived there full time. They had little 2-bedroom, they call them, what do they call those things? Park models. And a lot of people had cabins that they had built onto the park model. And I had a little 2-bedroom cabin that had for several years, and then I sold it. So thankfully I didn't own it when it washed away, but it was a happy place for us. We filmed some Heart of the Homes there, and one of them we did in a blinding rainstorm outside grilling steaks, and the lightning was striking. And I looked at Lori and I said, what are we thinking? This is dangerous to be outside in the lightning like it is. But we ended up getting it filmed. We got the steaks cooked, and you got to see that program. I'm looking for that program now. We have it somewhere in this building because it was one of those final photos I have of that little cabin, and I loved it. And then we also did one with Vicki Shackelford, and we caught fish in the Tuckasegee, cleaned it, and we're cooking fish. And that's kind of how the Cherokee lived. They caught, they grew, they provided for themselves, and they became a very rich nation. And then we know what we did to that nation. We know, sadly, what our United States government did to that nation. They took their wealth, they walked in the middle of the day. Many of the family was sitting around having a meal, and a lot of them were not even allowed to take the time to put their shoes on as they walked them to Oklahoma. So shame, shame. It is a part of American history that we should be ashamed of. But I want to encourage you to go to Cherokee or to go up to Murphy, North Carolina. If you don't want to take a long trip, Murphy, North Carolina has a great Indian museum too. Or, no, I have to correct myself. They no longer want to be called Indians. They are Cherokee people. So, correction, Sherry, Cherokee people. So if you want to see a museum that's closer than Cherokee or closer than Bryson City, then you go up to the one in Murphy, North Carolina, and it is just right on the main drag. It's very close to City Hall, and it's beautiful and it's full of really cool stuff. So if you want to take a short trip, y'all know that's only about 5 miles out of Fannin County. So get out and do that. Take a daycation. Now, something else I did this weekend was I prepared food for people who came to open house. We had a really, really good open house, and I kind of did some weird little stuff because you never know if people are going to eat or not, so you just do little, but I did some cute stuff. And we had some leftovers, so I've been eating pickle sandwiches. So if you see a snarl on my face, it's because I've been eating. I make these little tiny, and we'll show you pictures of them in a minute. But all the girls at the office love them, and it's salami and pickle and cheese, and it's a sandwich, and there's no bread involved. So it's pretty cool, and it's low calorie, and it's pretty good for you because I think that maybe the pickles have whatever it causes to keep your legs from cramping. So some cute recipes and some things that were fun. I did that before I took my vacation, so it was cool. It was nice to have the day off. It was nice to see the things that we saw. The Nantahala was beautiful. The Tuckasegee was even pretty. And a trip to Darnell Farms, and I've got to get y'all to go to Darnell Farms. I know a lot of people still garden, but if you don't garden and you want to get some beans or some tomatoes or something to can, Darnell Farms they are actually farming the land that the Cherokee farmed for many, many years. It's right on the river. It is absolutely beautiful. They had music there this weekend, and they have events for the kids to do, and they have a playground. It's just a really cool place to take your family, and it's a place to teach your children that, yeah, from the dirt comes what we eat. And if we're going to eat it and eat it healthy, maybe we could grow it without adding a bunch of pesticides and a bunch of junk and a bunch of dye that they add when you buy it sometimes. So I hope today will be interesting for y'all. We're also going to share something very special. Tomorrow is the anniversary, a sad anniversary that Brady Singleton went to be with Jesus. And we do this every year, and I will never stop doing this as long as I'm on television. You're going to know about this little boy. You're going to know about this little boy who lost his life at 3 years and 9 months old. He was 3 years and 9 months old. He was full of laughter and love, and John Deere tractors were his thing. He loved the farm. He loved checking on the cattle, and he and his grandfather were struck, and he died as 3 people chose to drink and drive. They chose to drink and drive, but they also chose to leave the scene of the accident. All they had to do was stop, reach down in the creek, and pick Brady up. They chose not to. And sadly, I totally disagree with the way the case was handled. I totally disagree with what happened to the people who caused this child's death. I sat in one of the trials. I didn't like how that went. I don't like any of them because it did not go down the way it should. If you take a life, should you spend a couple of years in jail? No, you should spend more. And so today, the whole key to this is don't drink and drive. We're approaching graduation. We're approaching partying. We are approaching Memorial Day. We're approaching the holidays as everybody goes to the beach, and there'll be a lot of drinking. You drink, it's your business. You drink and drive, it can often destroy a family. So today we're going to share something that it took Ron and Shirley a long time to publicly talk about what happened to their son. But they did it, and we're going to share that with you. And then we're also going to share the special that we produced here at ETC. Jennifer Danner wrote an original song. She knew that little boy. She loved that little boy, and she wrote an amazing song about him. And today we're going to end with a song that got me through some really tough times in my life. It's called The Bright Side, and it is, no matter what we've had to look at, No matter how bad things have been, there is a bright side to everything, and we're going to share that with you today. We're also going to share a lot of photos that I took up in North Carolina, and we're going to share a little bit of the trip. But I can't wait to show you the map, and I'm going to challenge y'all to take this trip. Now, I will warn you, there are no Dollar Generals along the way, and everybody says, oh, there's one every 7 miles or less. Not on this trip. So when I give you the map and I show you, be prepared to go a windy, curvy road, but it is beautiful. It is beautiful. You just have to eat you some crackers and have a little something on your stomach, because it's going to be maybe a little bit of a rough ride. So we're going to share that with you too. I want to go to the Brady Singleton piece right now, because his life should be celebrated. He deserves to be celebrated. He will never be forgotten. The community of the Copper Basin will never forget when they got the call that Coach Singleton and his wife had to show up at the hospital as their child had been in a horrific accident. And also, her dad was in a horrific accident. He was in the hospital over 30 days. We are very fortunate that Brady made it to recover, but not fully. He never recovered. So when you think about drinking and driving, think hard, think really hard. If you're going to drink, give somebody your car keys. Do not drink and drive. Here we go to a piece that should be shared by everyone.
That's throughout our whole nation. Thank you so much. I want to tell you about Brady Singleton. He was our son. He was our only child. And when he was born, he was named after my father-in-law, Grady Anderson, my wife's dad. Grady Anderson taught in Cherokee County, North Carolina for 46 years. He was a graduate of Western Carolina University and Vanderbilt here in Nashville. And my wife also taught at the same school system in Cherokee County, North Carolina. I taught at Copper Basin High School in Copper Hill, Tennessee for my whole career. And the reason I'm telling you that is because Brady was probably the best known little boy in the tri-state area. He was known in Cherokee County, North Carolina, he was known in Fannin County, Georgia, and he was known in Polk County, Tennessee, because of all the people that we had taught before and all of our associations with people in those 3 counties. We wanted to make sure that Brady had the kind of life that we wanted him to, and we introduced him to music and sports and travel, and he loved animals. So we took him to zoos in Knoxville and Chattanooga, and we brought him here to the Nashville Zoo twice. Because of his love of animals and the farm where my wife grew up, he loved to go to that farm, and he loved to go out and be among the animals in the field and ride a four-wheeler out there and be among the cows and things like that. He just loved the farm. And he had a lot of toy tractors, many, many, many toy tractors. That was his favorite toy. And we wanted him to be well-traveled. We took him to Niagara Falls, and for his 4th birthday, we had already got the tickets and a reservation to take him to Hawaii and enjoy Waikiki Beach and have his birthday there. My wife had done extensive planning on that, but he never made that. All parents have little funny stories to tell about their children, and I'm no exception. I want to tell you 2. And the first one was, we taught him that you have to kiss it and make it better. You know, a child will fall down and they'll get a boo-boo, and it helps to comfort them and give them some support when they have a little fall or something like that. One day, I was sitting at the dining room table, had shorts on, had my leg outstretched, and he brought in one of those heavy metal tractors, and he accidentally dropped it on my shin. And I said, "Brady, ouch, that hurt. You're going to have to kiss it and make it better." So he picked up the toy tractor and kissed it. The other story, which, you know, this is just to give you an idea of what his little personality was like. He was a thumb sucker, and we tried to teach him different ways to not suck his thumb. And one morning he's laying between us and he's sucking his thumb, and I said to myself, I'm going to stick my own thumb in my mouth and say yuck. Maybe that'll do something. So I put my thumb in my mouth, and I looked over at him, and he had his little thumb in his mouth. And I pulled it back out and said, "Yuck, Brady." And he said, "Here, Daddy, try mine." I guess his was a whole lot better than mine was. But we fast forward now to April 29th, 2008. Brady is 3 years, 9 months old. And that's the morning that I kissed him bye for the last time. Put him in the car seat. My wife is going to take him to her parents' house just over the line in North Carolina, where he'll spend the day on the farm. And she was going to her school, which was also just past that. At about the same time, two men from Farner, Tennessee were preparing for an all-day drunk. They had made plans to go to Murphy, North Carolina and buy all the liquor they could. And it was Nicholas Brumley as the driver and Charlie Womble or Joey Womble that made these plans. And they were well known already to law enforcement. They were already in drugs and alcohol, been arrested many times. And they bought that alcohol in Murphy, North Carolina, and immediately started drinking on their way back to Tennessee. Later, after they'd been drinking for a while, they picked up a woman of a Murphy address, and they continued their drinking. The three of them in the cab of a truck. There was no designated driver. They were all determined to get drunk. After lunch, Brady and Grady went out for a drive, and they went through their property on Old Ducktown Road. That's a road that they own property on both sides of the road. It was a gravel road, very small. Half of it was in North Carolina, half of it in Tennessee. At the end of the line, in the Tennessee side, there was a beer joint, and that faced Tennessee Highway 68. It was there that Brumley, Womble, and Sneed tried to buy more beer, but they were already drunk. And the attendant there knew that, and he wouldn't sell them any more beer. Brumley, angered and scratched out, throwing gravel, got his speed up, they think 35 to 40 miles per hour, according to the North Carolina Highway Patrol. Put the brakes on until he was right on top of them and hit them. The collision sent Brady flying into a creek, and the wreckage ended up on top of him. Grady was also sent through the air, and he hit a tree, knocking him unconscious. The three people who caused the accident, well, it wasn't an accident, it was a caused crash. The three people who caused this crash did not stop. They realized that there wasn't anyone else around, and they were going to try to get away with this. They could have saved Brady in 10 seconds. Brady was pinned. He was unhurt. Of course, they did an autopsy later and found nothing that caused his death except for drowning. He drowned in that little creek. Brady tried to breathe. He was face down in the creek. Took in huge amounts of mud and water. And he tried and tried until he drowned. I had just started my fourth period class at Copper Basin High School, where I was a teacher. It was block scheduling. It was the last period of the day, and I got the call I needed to go to the hospital. The hospital was next door, so it wasn't a long drive. I ran out the door, got in my truck, and drove to the hospital. And when I got to the emergency room, people were running in and out with a look of terror on their faces. I'll never forget the looks of the people that were trying to revive Brady. I still didn't know what happened. I knew something had happened. I knew that there was a wreck, maybe. And I asked the attendant on the front desk, was he breathing when they brought him in? And she said, no, he wasn't. And about that time, my wife Shirley came in from her school in North Carolina, and we were escorted to the hospital chapel, where we prayed as hard as we could. But in a little while, they came in and told us that Brady had passed away. He didn't make it. They took us to a little room beside the emergency room, and we saw Brady had still mud in his hair and in his ears, in his nose. It was more than we could bear. Other relatives came, our minister from church came, and in a few minutes, the North Carolina Highway Patrol came in and told us that it had been a hit-and-run wreck. We still had not known. That's the first time that we knew what had happened. Brady Anderson was also brought to Copper Basin Medical Center, and he had a broken back, a broken pelvis, and a hematoma on the brain. They airlifted him by helicopter to Erlanger Hospital in Chattanooga. I thought then, when I saw him, we will have 2 funerals this week. Later, it was much later, the North Carolina Highway Patrol came in and said the people who had caused this had been arrested in Polk County, Tennessee. It was the Polk County Sheriff's Department who arrested them, and they were really drunk. They tested at twice the legal limit. Now, this is 4 hours afterwards, so they told us that probably at the time of the crash, 3 times the legal limit. We went home that night, and of course we couldn't sleep. All of Brady's things were around us, his toys and his books and his clothes, and all we could do was cry. We had to make arrangements for a funeral. The funeral home didn't have a casket for a 3-year-old. They don't keep those in stock. 3-year-olds are not supposed to die. They showed us a magazine with 2 caskets that we picked one from. When we received friends, they opened the doors at 4 p.m. and there was no break until midnight that night. It was solid people from 4 to 12. My brother estimated 2,000 people came through to pay their respects. A lot of people said that God will never put on you more than you can bear. But that's not true. And if you read that scripture, it's in 1 Corinthians, and it really says God won't allow you to be tempted beyond your means to deal with it. And he'll always supply you a way out. You know, it had nothing to do with how much that you could bear. And I've always thought about Jesus on the cross. Even at that time, he said, my God, why have you forsaken me? You know, he had more on him than he could bear. He thought, maybe God is not present now. Maybe he's letting me go. And of course, God came back. And we did too. We recognized we couldn't bear the burden alone. That without God and our trust in him, we couldn't bear it. It's been a long healing process. Even though it's in 2008, it's just like yesterday to us. We knew that God does not interfere in everything that happens on earth. If he did, there wouldn't be free will. And we don't know why he didn't interfere in this one. Why didn't he cause those people to wreck? Why didn't he cause them to run out of the road? But he didn't. They hit Brady. And I don't know what the purpose is, and I don't know if it's part of it being here today and all of us trying to be more vigilant and trying to stop drug and drunk driving. I don't know. I know one thing. I spent my whole career teaching and coaching other people's kids, and I look forward to the day when I could coach Brady, and it didn't happen. These shirts were Brady's. His little Tennessee Titan shirt and UT. Really miss Saturdays and Sundays and not having Brady there. He could do the touchdown symbol before he could talk. And by the way, this picture was the day before he died. He just had a few hours to live here. Brady and I were out in the yard picking up sticks on April 29th, and I took several pictures. And so that's one of the last images we have of Brady. 33 scholarships have been given in Brady's name. Maybe that's part of the reason too. I don't know. There's been 23 Brady Singleton Memorial Scholarships given at Copper Basin High School. And in Cherokee County, there are 10 called the Brady Grady Scholarships given in his memory. Grady Anderson survived the wreck, but he was weeks in intensive care where he was unconscious. We wondered if he would live or die. He did live. He went through excruciating pain, though, And he had physical and mental and emotional problems after that, you can imagine. Grady died in 2014, still suffering from those physical and emotional problems. I want to thank you all for being here today and for your vigilance in helping stop drug and drug driving. Thank you for letting us tell Brady's story. God bless.
This concludes the...
Today in America, somebody else will lose their life because somebody chose to drink and drive. Please make a conscious decision. If you drink, keep it at home, keep it out of your car, keep it off your motorcycle. Don't get out and cause grief for another family. Never does that get easy, and never does it seem to go away, because forever. And we moms who've lost children talk about it all the time. There's no loss quite like it. Now, for me, my daughter got to live her life, got to be married, got to have a daughter, but Brady didn't get to live his life. And I talked to somebody last night who has a friend who lost 3 daughters due to a drunk driver. You think about that. Her whole family was wiped out. We have a decision to make. If you drink, please don't drive. Please, please don't. Now, we're going to go, before we go to the special that we produced here at ETC, I want to share the weekend with you, because the weekend, it was a good weekend. The weather wasn't too bad. It didn't rain. It was just a beautiful, beautiful day, and a beautiful day to take some daycation time. Now, this is how I started my morning today, and I wanted to say thank you to the beautiful lady who brought me all these iris. About 10 years ago, she brought me a wash tub full here at the studio at ETC, and I planted them, and they have grown and multiplied. And this year they bloomed late. I'm not sure why, but they bloomed a little bit late. But this morning as I was leaving, I just stopped and I said, I gotta take a picture of those. They're just absolutely beautiful. And that's just a sweet gesture. Every day we can choose to do something kind, something easy, something simple, just something simple for somebody else. I think that's how we should look at life every single day, because you don't know what everybody else is going through. Now, this weekend, got to stop up in Cherry Log at Precious Lois Chastain's plot. And this is, I still can't really wrap my arms around the fact that she's not here, because she was my buddy. We talked, we laughed, we talked about canning all the time. She was going to teach me to make hominy, and I said, Lois, I don't like hominy. I don't want to eat no hominy. And she said, oh, if you eat this homemade, you'll love it. Well, I didn't love it, but she's such a precious, precious soul who's gone on to be with Jesus. And boy, if anybody deserved heaven, that lady did. What a precious, precious, precious soul. So remember those who are gone on, and remember what they did for you. Now this is my buddy Bonnie and her precious mama, Miss Olga. If you look at my recipes and you see Granny Olga's cookies, if you have not tried that recipe, they are so simple, they are so good, they are so crisp and yummy. Make that for Mother's Day and give it to a mom who's maybe hurting. Give it to a mom who's lost a loved one. Give it to a mom who maybe survived the loss of her children, because I know women today who've buried all their children. So think about a mom who maybe isn't going to have company, and make a cookie recipe and just show up with a tin of cookies and say, hey, I was just thinking about you. Now, this is some of the moms who influenced me. This is my granny, my Aunt Tempy, my Aunt Annie, my Aunt Bessie, and it's so crazy to look at all these. That's them 100 years ago, over 100 years ago. Those people influenced my life, from the cooking to the sewing to the learning and processing and flowers. Aunt Bessie grew the most beautiful flowers in the world. My granny lived a very, very simple life, but had the sweetest, kindest heart. And yeah, I was her special. I was her favorite, and everybody knew it. So that's okay. We've all got a favorite. But what a special memory, and this, two precious, precious ladies. This is early on as Loretta was dealing with dementia, and her dementia was progressing, but her friend that she hadn't seen in a while I took Louise down there, and she walked in, and she knew who she was. And that was so really, really cool, because we knew that the dementia was coming on, and it was coming on pretty fast. But she remembered her friend, so it's going to be a very special Mother's Day. Louise is still here, and she's still ripping around and doing and always doing for somebody. So remember those who have battled dementia, and think about what their families went through, because it's tough. My friend Bonnie is dealing with that right now with her husband, and it's very, very hard. It's very, very hard. Now, this is what I want to encourage y'all to do. Get in your car, and if you haven't been, just ride up in the Smokies. You don't have to go to Dollywood and go somewhere crazy and crowded. You don't have to go anywhere. There's tons of people, because everywhere it was just pleasant. Not a ton of people, not a ton of traffic, just a pleasant, pleasant drive. Now, it won't be that way after school is out, so I'm warning you, do it now. This is the Tuckasegee River. And the Tuckasegee is the river that got out of its banks and destroyed Ellijay Campground and literally wiped away homes of, I know at least 200 people were living there full time. And sadly, there were some who didn't make it, but it's amazing to me, because as many times as I stood on the riverbanks there and watched the kids fish and spent time there, I never thought about it being a danger. Water is a very powerful force, and nobody had ever seen the rivers do what they did in North Carolina the week of Helene, and it was something that we weren't prepared for. It wasn't a tornado, it wasn't a monsoon, it was a hurricane, and it just rained and rained and rained and rained and caused problems. Now, this is where I want to recommend that you go, Museum of the Cherokee People. And if you don't want to go to the museum, there are a lot of really cool things on YouTube that you can actually watch and see the museum. It's $15 to go in, and all kinds of things to see, from art to artifacts to history of the things that happened, and the sadness of what we did to the Cherokees. So, but if you have a day, just a daycation, do that. And this is, again, the Tuckasegee. It was so beautiful, so calm, so pretty. It's hard to imagine the destruction that it did, but the destruction was wide, and still a lot of evidence of it. Now, this is the Cherokee Nation was having a car show, and lots of cars. But as a girl who knows Gilmer County and knows some car fixers that are amazing, from Sanford Fountain to Josh Goebel, wasn't nothing there that touched what y'all do. There were some cool cars, and actually there was one 57 black Chevy that I really loved. It was really, really pretty. I don't know who won the car show, but as walking out the gate, here comes a 66 Chevelle that was painted. It was purple, but it said blue on the tag. That was the weirdest blue I ever saw, but it was the coolest car. I don't know that I would ever paint a 66 Chevelle purple. I just don't think, I don't know. It was hot, it was really beautiful, but I don't know that that's what I'd do with it. And again, there's the Tuckasegee. It just looked normal, you know, and this weekend we've had some rain. We had a few inches of rain last week here. North Carolina had some rain, but normal rain, the river's just calm and beautiful and no problem. But with the torrential rains, it was a disaster. Now I think that's a pretty cool little truck. What do y'all think? And guys like little old trucks. I found that out because everywhere you go at a car show, there's a little old truck and some little old guy sitting there loving it. So that's a pretty cool truck. And again, these are the mountains on Saturday. It was funny because it was really, really cloudy in places, and then the skies were brilliant and blue in other places. But it didn't rain. Thank goodness it didn't rain, because it was just a really pretty day. They drove up in this. Now this looks like something they just got out of the junkyard. The dash was kind of rough, and the inside was really rough, but there were two old dudes sitting in it, and they were driving it, and the windshield was cracked. I don't know if it's an original car that they got out and just got it started again. But it was interesting to see all those spit and polished and pretty cars, and then here comes this one, and that probably was the most popular one there because everybody kept asking questions about it. Now the campground that I was telling you about at Ellijay is where the Inspiration Park was there. for many, many years right at Ellijay, and that is the exit that you get off there. Now Inspiration Park is doing other things. It's doing concerts. They're going to have the concerts there again this year. They had a wrestling match up there going on now. They've got all kinds of things at different times, and it's still a good place to go and visit. Looks very different than it did when it was Inspiration Park, but again, it's a daycation that you can do. So check it out. You don't have to go a long way. You don't have to drive to Florida. There's that Chevelle. Now, what do y'all think? Is that purple or is that blue? And when he turned on his headlights, you can't tell it. Maybe you can tell it in the picture. The headlights were purple. I'd never seen that before. So, very unique 66 Chevelle. Not exactly. I think all 66 Chevelles should be black. Now, we always love to support the Dairy Queen because they've been really good to us. And so when you go to Cherokee, where do you eat? The Dairy Queen. What do you eat? A fish sandwich. Their fish sandwiches are so good. So thanks to the Dairy Queen, because anytime I call and say, hey, I need ice cream coupons to give out to kids, they're on board. So, yay. And Happy does taste good. It was a good day Saturday, and just a lot of, isn't that beautiful? Look at those skies. Now, you just saw the cloudy sky, and it was so cloudy, but look at that. It was a beautiful, beautiful day. So during the week, on the weekend, if you have time, just leave at 9 o'clock in the morning. You'll be home by 7 o'clock that night. Excuse me. And I do love that house. I want to find out the history of that house. It's really neat. Okay. The pollen is really getting me. Gosh. Oh, Trace, what you going to do? You have to go out here and survive me. Survive me. That is a cool Chevelle, but not cool like a Josh Goebbels Chevelle. Not cool like a Mr. Ellijay Chevelle, but that's a cool Chevelle. It was so weird to see that shot. You got the blue skies and you got the gray and the gloom and doom, but not a lot of traffic. It was really cool. But I'm telling you, don't wait till school is out, because once school is out, you can't get up and down the road. Now, that was one of probably the best cars at that car show. That was a Roadrunner, and never had a Roadrunner. I've never driven a Roadrunner, but I know a bunch of guys who love Roadrunners. So one of the most popular cars ever made by the Chrysler Company. And there is that purple Chevelle again, and yeah, pretty cool. Now this, I want to tell y'all, get your grandkids together and make them little mini fruit cup salads. These are so easy. Get you a bunch of fruit. I chose to buy the fruit and chop it up myself on some of it, and some of it I bought pre-chopped at Ingles, and make these cute little things, and you can put whatever they like in it. One of the things I chose was some French Swiss cheese, which was not cheap, but it was good. It was really good. And make these little goodies and let the kids be part of it. Get the kids in the kitchen and say, hey, let's make you a mini fruit cup, and everybody gets their own little cup and they can put what they want in it. And I put asparagus in all of them because I'm trying to eat some asparagus. It's good for you and it's low calorie, and yeah, it's okay. I'm learning to love it, I guess. So, but as the kids are getting out of school, and these are those little sandwiches. Y'all got to make some of these sandwiches. You ever had a pickle sandwich? It is boar's head salami and really good hard cheese. And there it is. And it is something that it's low calorie, it's a good snack, it will fill you up. You gotta eat about 4 of them, but it's good. And again, and those are done with kosher dill pickles. I've actually done them with sweet pickles, a little bit different. But everything there was kind of pick it up and eat it, and just a little of this, a little of that. I made egg salad, I made homemade egg salad. And I did the radish roses. That's something else you can teach the kids to do, because they totally change form after you put them in water. They look kind of just like a normal radish, and then you fix them and put them in water and they make a rose. So, you know, teach your kids to sit in the kitchen and prepare, and show them how easy it is to serve a little snack, a little food, and make it fun. And this one, I love broccoli. I just love broccoli. So I made that ranch dip, and you can dip the broccoli in the ranch and eat it, and then eat the other stuff. But it's simple, and keep it simple, keep it fun, and buy some cute toothpicks and sit the kids around the table and teach them how to do this. Now this is Ellijay Campground. Here we go. Hey y'all, if you have not been to Bryson City and visited Darnell Farms, I hope that I can entice you to do that. I've gotten wonderful produce here for years and years. Absolutely amazing. They grow something all the time. And it is full of people, but it is right riverside, so you know that they have plenty of water for irrigation, for all the vegetables and all the pumpkins and all the things. And they are always busy. They have the best produce. They also have hay rides in the fall, and they have all kinds of things going on. So if you have not been to Darnell Farms, you need to plan a trip with your family. Teach your children about growing what you eat. This family started with a little bitty place, and now everybody knows about it. And if you can't find a certain produce, if you pick up the phone and call them, I bet you they'll have it. So it's just a good place to bring your family to spend some time and to learn a little bit about what it is like to grow what you eat, as they've done for many years, and to share all of this with your family. Because this is, you see the fields, they pick it and you get it as fresh as it can possibly be. That's what teaching your children is about. Teach them about farming, teach them about the earth, teach them about the respect of the earth, just as the Cherokee left for us to remember. I love that they have an American flag at their entry. It's such a beautiful spot. And again, somewhere that you could take your children, teach them a little bit about what it's like to grow what you eat, and to just spend the day. Just spend the day at Darnell Farms. And again, they have hundreds of acres that they tend and they plow and they plant and they grow, and it is just a beautiful site located in Bryson City, North Carolina. So take a trip and come to Bryson City. Okay, now here's the trip I'm gonna challenge y'all to do. Go up to Cherokee, go to Bryson City, go visit Darnell Farms, and then as you leave, as you're coming out on 74 and you're headed back toward Murphy, before you get to Almond, which is a little tiny development, take a left turn and go toward Cowee, and you'll end up in Franklin, North Carolina. Now, Cowee is a little tiny town known for gem mining and things from the Cherokee. It is also one of the places where the Cherokee Nation had a large group of people who lived there during the removal. So when you wonder how did Cherokee end up still full of Cherokee people, it ended up that way because many of them fled into the mountains, and many of them hid to not be removed. But still thousands were removed. So when you look at this map, that map is full of mountains. And by the grace of God, some people were not removed and got to stay and still farm and live in the communities that we're showing you. So get out. This 2-lane road going to Cowee out of Bryson City is a very, very curvy road, but it is a beautiful drive. It's not for the faint of heart. If you don't like curves, then don't do it, but I suggest you do it. Now we're going to take you to a commercial break, and then we're going to go back to and show you the Brady Singleton special that we produced. Love the idea that we can still share his story, because somebody is going to make a decision not to drink and drive when they see this story of this little boy. Here we go.
Whether you're in the mood for chicken strips, a delicious burger, our classic banana split, or an upside-down thick blizzard treat, we've got you covered. Hot and fresh food every day, every time, and delicious DQ soft serve make the perfect pair at your favorite place. Not fast food, fan food fast. Your Blue Ridge, Ellijay, and Jasper Dairy Queens are your meet, eat, and treat headquarters.
Thank you for choosing DQ. How may I serve you?
Here's the deal. We gotta set ourselves up. See, retirement is the long game. We can't play about our future or our finances. Make moves, set up goals. Don't worry about a setback. Just save up, stack up to reach them. Let's put ourselves in the right position. Pre-game to greater things. This is pre-tirement.
Welcome to our ETC Game of the Week. From McDaniel, that one is poked out in the out.
Oh, that one hits him in the head.
From Crisp. That one.
3-2.
Good lick.
Y'all come by and see us anytime you can.
Whether you're swimming in the sea or splashing in the pool, making a masterpiece, or just making memories, writing a great American novel, or writing your term paper that's due tomorrow. Whatever you do in life, Farmers is here to protect it. For all your insurance needs, call Donald Curtis in Blue Ridge.
Brady's tractor.
I'm sorry, Brady.
Today is 16. My goodness, just look at that. My goodness.
You want it off?
Want it off? Want it off? My goodness.
Gonna get it out.
There's Brady's brand new tractor. Today is September 16th, 2007.
Wow.
3-year-old Brady getting his first tractor.
Let me set you on now. Don't put your foot on that right there for a minute till I show you what to do. All right. Now then, let me get him up there. Now then.
Death is a dread for everyone, but it is grave. It's just a place to spend the night. It's just a place to spend the night, a place to rest before my flight. Morning will come with a shout of my King, and then I will rise so high above the clouds and beyond the sky. It's not a grave, it's just a place to spend the night. Oh, there is a thought that cheers me on. It'll bring you comfort after I'm gone. God made a promise there would come, and into this night He'll send down His Son to gather us in, those He has saved, redeemed from their sins, and the children who sleep. Praise God, they will be the very first ones to rise. It's just a place to spend the night, place to rest before my flight. Morning will come with a shout of my King, and then I will rise so high above the clouds and beyond the sky. It's not a grave, it's just a place to spend the night. It's not a grave, it's just a place to spend the night.
We come here often where our loved ones lay. It seems like yesterday we joined hands to pray. How sweet it would be if we were standing round when this cold grave it turns to resurrection ground. Resurrection ground. No more graves allowed.
We're on the horse.
It's a big horse, isn't it?
When Jesus will be for all eternity. This is not the end. It's resurrection ground. Resurrection ground. No more graves allowed. We'll meet them in the air. No more parting there. With Jesus we'll be for all eternity. This is not the end. It's resurrection ground. This is not the end. It's resurrection ground. You know, I thank the Lord for songs with meaning. That's why I love singing with the Inspirations, because we have a message, not just music. Back in 1992, my brother and his wife had to go through the deepest valley they'd ever been through and ever will go through. They had a little 3-year-old girl that one week she was playing in my backyard with my little 3-year-old girl. And just the following week, we had no idea that she'd be rushed to the hospital. Just as normal as any child playing in my backyard one week, the next week rushed into the emergency room. 2 days later, going through a major brain surgery, having a tumor. Through complications and different things that took place, the Lord saw fit to take little Marie Beth Dibler home. Just a matter of weeks, just a matter of days. But you know, a couple days later, we had to go out to the graveyard and see a little white 48-inch casket. Some of you have been there. We had to watch that casket go down into the ground, and I thought, What could I say to my brother? I wanted to be an encouragement to him. But although I didn't have the words to say, I'm glad that God still gives a song in the darkest night. We want you to listen to this last verse again, because this is the song in his darkest night that God gave my brother the very day that he buried his 3-year-old daughter.
Oh, buddy.
We come here often where our loved ones lay. It seems like yesterday we joined hands to pray. How sweet it would be if we were standing round when this cold grave, it turns to resurrection ground. Resurrection ground. No more graves allowed. We'll meet them in the air. No more parting there. With Jesus we'll be for all eternity. This is not the end, it's resurrection ground. This is not the end, it's resurrection ground.
Ready for Kong?
King Kong.
Wow.
That was good. More?
What?
Yes. Wow.
How about those big dinosaurs that are in Kong?
Dinosaur? Oh,
Wow.
that was scary.
Golly, that was scary.
I want
Okay.
to see another dinosaur. All right, let's see it.
Dinosaur.
Whoa, that was so scary.
And King Kong.
Sometimes life's hard to understand. How a light just keeps on burning while another candle ends. And how a smile can change it all, I remember. And how there's hope after a fall. Now and ever I see him smiling there, and you see him everywhere, and I can almost hear him now singing, Jesus loves me, this I know, his eye is on the sparrow, and Jesus loves me, mommy and daddy, you know that one day we'll laugh and play like yesterday and now. And Jesus loves me, this I know, I'll see you on the morrow. When darkness settles across the sky, the bright and morning star will still shine bright. And he holds him in his arms of love, forever shelter. An angel sigh from up above. The storms are weathered. We see him smiling there. You see him everywhere. And I can almost hear him now singing. And Jesus loves me, this I know.